Welcome back to the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy, and today we're going to sit down and talk to a special guest. So before we do that, we're going to go ahead and bring in the co-hosts of the show. Jacob.
Yes, sir.
We had ourselves some good food last night, man.
Dude, we did. So Jeremy and I and his kids did fajitas on their fire pit outside. So that was cool. Real primal sort of experience. The kids were super bored. It was awesome. They were like, I want to play video games. And we're like, no. And it was rad. Dude, I'm so stoked. I'm so excited. Tomorrow is the opening day of squirrel season here in Wisconsin. And I've got a VA appointment, and then I'm going to go out and get me some tree rats. I can't wait. I already got all the stuff for squirrel stew. I told Whitney, I was just like, you're going to eat this with me, right? And she's like, you're going to stew it? And I was like, yeah. She's like, okay, I'll eat it. she's like, your rabbit stew is great, so I'm sure the squirrel stew will be good too. So excited for that. Yeah, me and Jeremy, the wives were out in Duluth, Minnesota all weekend, and they did like a Oktoberfest sort of thing out there. So it was just me and Jeremy and the kids kicking it. So we did he called it hobos, basically anything in the fridge, you just throw it in a tin foil and wrap it up, throw it on the fire. So it came out really good. And then we did the fajitas and stuff. So yeah, it was a really good weekend.
Yeah.
And then
Pizza
for
crust,
me,
candy bars, everything.
Yeah, all that stuff. We did s'mores, so the kids love that. Freaking, oh my gosh. Jace, his oldest son, right? Jace 10. He gets 3 pieces of fajita meat, this like flank steak that's all sliced up. He gets 3 pieces of that and like maybe a single piece of bell pepper, wraps it in a tortilla, and he eats half of it and throws the rest in the trash. He's like, I'm saving room for the s'mores. I was just like, oh my gosh. There's no nutrients going into this child. It's crazy. But no, it was a great time. We had a good time for sure.
Great stuff. Open fire fajitas. Phenomenal.
Yep.
Those jalapenos came back with a vengeance.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's great. You put the jalapenos on there whole, get a nice char on all the sides, slice them up, and like all the heat's gone, right? So you get this you get lulled into this false sense of like everything's good, and then the next day happens and it just destroys just annihilates you. Oops.
All right. Let's move on.
Yep.
Let's move on to the guy that will match Jake's enthusiasm step for step. Jeffrey, what's up, man?
My stomach actually hurts right now. And no, I was not at the barbecue. I live over 1,000 miles away. But no, I'm good, man. I'm here.
Terrible excuse.
Here with a tummy ache.
You're an awful person.
I know, man. I'm sorry.
Garbage.
It's all that raw cookie dough you eat.
I didn't have any cookie dough this time. I wish I did. That'd probably make my tummy feel better.
All right. Well, he didn't match Jake's.
Yeah, that's enough out of you. Shut up now.
Sorry.
All right. Let's get on to the guest tonight. Investigating since 2013, she is the co-founder of the REP Paranormal Team, REP Paranormal and Friends podcast, and the co-owner of the Paranormal Buzz Radio Network. It is my pleasure to introduce you all to Alison tonight. Welcome to the Infinite Rabbit Hole, Alison.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome.
It's a pleasure. Yeah. Absolutely.
So, I was on her podcast a little while ago before we did the whole Elmwood and UFO Days thing in July. Had a good time. We talked. We had some good conversation there. Check it out. It's a good episode. But I wanted to reach out to you and invite you on the show because I want to talk a little bit about what you do and your specialties and your background and I'm going to be honest with you. For a rabbit hole podcast, we don't cover the paranormal very much.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to like spirits and ghosts and stuff like that. So
we're squares.
Terrible people. So Alison, can you give us a little bit of a background about you and what you do?
Yeah, sure. So, I am a paranormal investigator. I've been doing it since 2013. Kind of started off when I was younger. My mom said that I was always scared. I always saw like a shadow figure near my bed. She's like, you're little, you don't, whatever. But, sometimes I would start laughing or crying or literally having a full-on conversation with somebody. Sometimes it sounded like I was talking in tongue, whatever. As I got older, I kind of noticed it a little bit more. But I just kind of shrugged it off. And then I played slow pitch softball, got together with some girls, we'd been drinking and stuff. And we're like, hey, have you heard of that Villisca axe murder house? I'm like, yeah. They're like, we should go. I'm like, absolutely. Let's go there. So we got some really cheap recorders. I had a really old camcorder, which I still use because it works great. It's a night vision cassette tape one. And we went there with no expectations, not knowing what we were doing. And we've been doing it ever since. I mean, we did get some EVPs there, which was kind of, interesting. Got some names on there, which we're like, okay, not sure what that was from. And so we've been doing it ever since. Like, we just started going out of state a couple years ago. So we haven't really been a whole lot of places out of Iowa. But we're just going to kind of figure out these things. We like to kind of debunk a lot of stuff. Sometimes we're like, okay, are these people like just setting up things for stuff to happen, when we're at a location, just so they have people coming there, to pay the money to go. We haven't found anything like that yet, but I'm sure we'll come upon it sometime or another. But, and besides doing the paranormal, we have a podcast that we do usually on Thursday nights. 8/7 Central, we cover paranormal. We do near-death experiences. We have a lot of authors on anything and everything that people want to talk about. So yeah, it's
good stuff.
Yeah. We go quite a few places.
How many investigations would you say you've done? Give me a rough ballpark.
Oh, maybe 50 or 60. Maybe more.
What's the best one you did?
Oh.
Gotta pick one. Not two.
I know, that's so hard because, oh my God, that's so hard because we have a place that's like our home away from home, but we had a place this year that 1858 Garnet House Hotel. That place was insane.
Yeah.
I didn't go in with any expectations. The guy's like, oh, I can't be there to let you in. I left a key there. I have to be at our other location. So I'm like, okay, cool. We have no history on the place, whatever. We're just going to roll with it. There was only 3 of us. And we had dolls flying off at us, balls coming out. There was walking. I've got walking upstairs. It was intense. One of the gals is like, I'm ready to go get us a place at the Ramada Inn. And I'm like, no, we paid for this. We are staying here. Suck it up. Like, we are staying here. I literally probably slept 40 minutes the whole night. Like, it was insane. And we couldn't figure out how these things were doing that. I mean, I didn't see any strings or anything like that, I don't know. It was bizarre. I asked one, I said, I triple dog dare you to fall on Leslie's head. Probably maybe 10, 15 minutes later, it fell on her head. I don't know.
I'll take that bet.
I don't know. Yeah.
Well, no one, even someone who died 1,000 years ago, no one can stop a triple dog dare. You have to do it.
Right.
It's the law.
Exactly. It is. It is the law.
Even in the afterlife, it's the law. Yeah.
Yeah. Do they
if the Christmas story had taught us anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys document these like these events? You guys bring cameras and stuff like that with you?
We do bring cameras. A lot of times, Kim actually has a DVR system with 8 cameras, but we didn't take it to this location. A lot of it was just on her Facebook Live. I tried to roll my camcorder, but it kept telling me there was an error. I tried a new SD card. Everything would not work there at all. I finally did get it to work in the morning, but it was weird because it said it wasn't working. But I went back and there was actual video on it. So I don't know. But yeah, we try to document all this stuff and then we write it all down. So if we go back to that place, we can kind of see if we can recreate that or if we get some of the same. Yeah, and get some of the same responses, or if we can add on to those responses. So yeah, it's a lot of documenting.
So what part of the country are you out of?
We're actually from Iowa. I'm from the U.S. Iowa, Marshalltown. Corn, nothing but corn around here.
Yeah,
yeah.
You're not far from Jake and I. We're northwestern Wisconsin.
Okay,
it's
that's what
also
I thought. Yeah,
I
thought that's where you were.
Yeah. Tons of corn.
Right. Yeah.
So
me and my wife actually drove into Iowa a month ago to go pick up our puppy, and the gas station we stopped at, they had a huge sign for the sweet corn festival, and there's people walking around with like those super graphic tees, and it was just corn kernels and stuff.
Oh my gosh.
Where did we fall into? I love this place.
Yeah, there's absolutely nothing to do.
It's awesome.
I
love it.
Other than investigate.
Yeah.
Well, you got to have a lot of history there, for sure.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure there is. Do I keep up with it in our town? No, I don't. Like, there is absolutely nothing here. We don't even have a mall, anything. Like, that sucks. It's terrible.
Whitney, my wife, wants to know if you do any bunny bopping.
No, can't say that I do any bunny bopping. What's bunny bopping?
When she was growing up in Idaho, they would spotlight jackrabbits and go and smash them with golf clubs. That's what she did in the middle of nowhere, Idaho, I suppose. So she said,
maybe they do cow tipping and stuff around here.
Bunny bobbing, but bunny bopping. That's my mom just said.
Oh, I see it now. Yeah,
like cow tipping.
Like cow tipping. I said cow tipping.
Yeah, that's awesome. Oh, man.
Are you anywhere near Van Meter?
Actually, that is over. Yes, I'm about an hour and a half from there.
Wow.
From Van Meter. I have been to Van Meter.
That's cool.
I did go to that festival, which was interesting.
That's gotta be a cool festival.
It was actually not too bad. I mean, it's not like a huge festival, but like they had some unique speakers, and then they take you on like a walking tour of where the Van Meter creature thing supposedly was, or whatever. It's interesting.
We should do it, Jeremy.
We should. I was just gonna say that we should make a trip down to Van Meter and go to that festival. That sounds like a blast. Yeah. That's one of my all-time favorite stories is the Van Meter Visitor. We covered it, Jake, about a year and a half ago. And there was actually just a new book written about it. What was his name? I can't think of the author's name, but Chad Lewis. I don't know how I forgot that.
Yeah, Chad. Yeah, I've seen him talk before. Yeah, he's cool.
Yeah. Him, Noah Voss, and one other person, I can't remember the other author, just dropped a new book on the Van Meter Visitor. And I mean, eventually, like I said in the episode, I'll be able to do a number 2. Now, I definitely will, because Chad's really good at digging really deep for some of the stuff that other people aren't going to find. So, love Chad. But so you investigate a lot of. It's tough to say, because in the community we have a lot of people who call or use the word paranormal as an umbrella term for anything unknown, right? And then you have people that are really hardcore into saying that paranormal is strictly spirits, ghosts, and the lot like that. Others will say and
demons.
Oh, don't even go there. Don't even go there.
Should have known.
That is not in my vocabulary.
So, and then some people will use the word supernatural, where paranormal would just mean everything under the umbrella, like aliens, Bigfoot, cryptids, everything and anything. So excuse me if I'm not using the preferred term, but
no,
like I said, we don't cover the spirits too much here. But is there anything outside of spirits, ghosts, and demons that that you guys look into?
I personally want to really look into like Bigfoot and things like that. Like I just kind of want to see for myself. I want to go out there and into a wooded area and see if there's anything like that. Now, if I could get the rest of my team to do that, I highly doubt it. Do I want to traipse through the forest by myself? I don't know about that. If I want to go into a wooded area by myself, but I might. But that's something I'm interested in doing.
It's terrifying. Let's go.
Let's do it.
It's
UFO.
mind-numbingly scary. Like, let's go do it. It's fun.
It would be fun. I think it would be fun.
Yep.
You never know what you can run
worst
into.
case scenario, you don't run into a Bigfoot. Instead, you get mauled to death by like a cougar or something. I mean, like,
yeah, that could be fun.
Happens,
That could be fun.
Yeah.
You never know.
Yeah.
I'm really big into like I've always had a thing about UFOs and things like that when I was younger. However, nowadays I'm like looking up there, people see all these things and I'm like, are they just seeing satellites? There's so many stinking satellites up there. Like, how do you even know? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It kind of sucks with all those up there because you can't really tell anything anymore and you never know. Just like the paranormal, you don't know. Like you have to debunk everything. You never know. You can't say it's really paranormal or not. That's my thought anyways.
Jake, are you not going to ask her about the hipster ghosts?
I was going to get to it.
Waiting for it too.
I was going to let it happen. All right. So who do we have on last time that I was talking to about that?
Skeeter.
Okay. Yeah. So here's where I have the big issue.
Mm-hmm.
So my mom will tell you, she's a Christian woman. I'm a Christian
Mm-hmm.
guy, but she grew up in a house in
Mm-hmm.
England. She was a military brat. Dad was in
Mm-hmm.
the Air Force. And this place, if it wasn't haunted, it was filled with demonic activity. Like
Mm-hmm.
she was getting pushed down the stairs, the stove would turn on, all that
Mm-hmm.
sort of stuff, towels get thrown on the stove that's turned on type stuff, like all this sort
Mm-hmm.
of craziness.
Mm-hmm.
One day, Grandpa comes home from work. Grandma's home with the kids, and she's like, it was a really rough day, and so he yells out into this house, if you don't stop this, I'm gonna burn this house to the ground. And
wow.
everything stopped until the point where they actually like left there because Grandpa got reassigned back to the States.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So basically the story was the lady went crazy, drowned her kids in the tub, and then hung herself off of the banister, right? Like
yeah.
really hardcore stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So years later, Grandma and Grandpa go back to England on like, hey, we're retired now. We're going to go and visit some old places. And so they go back to the military base. It was actually base housing. And they find the exact same house. And Grandma goes up to the door, knocks, and the lady answers and say, hey, we used to live here 30 years ago, all this sort of stuff, whatever. And then she's like, is she still here? And the lady's face goes white. And she's like, you know about her? Like type stuff, right?
Gosh.
So this place is like, it's filled with demons or it's haunted, whatever it is, right? But up and down, left and right, she doesn't believe in ghosts, and neither do I. And really, when it comes down to it, the main reason why I don't believe in ghosts, even though I've had plenty of experiences that would lead to another person believing in ghosts, right? Being in the military, being on in old buildings that used to be like psych wards and things like that, seeing some weird stuff, literally seeing light switches flip themselves when I'm like on watch. I'm like, have to keep the lights on because if there's a fire, I can't have 300 people stumbling around in the dark. So, they can't see the light from inside their bedrooms to the common area. So the light switches in the hallway have to be on. I'm literally like, every time I get to the psych ward floor, all of the freaking lights are off and I'm flicking them all on and stuff like that. I'm sitting here. I'm going to sit here and wait for the guy who's playing a prank on me. They're going to reach out the door and flip off the light switch. And I literally watch all the light switches drop by themselves. I was like, I'm out. Bye. Type stuff. But the problem is for me is that though I've experienced a lot of stuff and I've seen a lot of stuff, when it comes down to people talking about the paranormal, ghosts, right? Or spirits left behind, unfinished business, that sort of stuff, whatever it is, they always have some sort of, 18th century, 17th century, 16th century, horrible murder, this, that, and the other. It's never the hipster that was walking across the street, dropped his vape, turned around and picked it up and got hit by a bus, right? It's never that guy. And I brought it up to Skeeter's attention. I was like, statistically speaking, 400,000 people die worldwide every single day. And it's not people dying, some people, it's like in the hospital surrounded by their loved ones. It's, sudden heart attacks, it's car accidents, it's plane accidents. I'm a gun guy, but I hate to say it, it's gun violence, right? It's terrible, horrible things. The Civil War was awful. The Revolutionary War was awful. There's, genocides going on across the pond right now in Africa all the freaking time. If there was ghosts because of traumatic events, we would be bumping into them like walking through sand at the beach. They'd be crazy, right? So the thing I brought up was just like, well, I have a hard time believing in ghosts because it's always some like, oh, this one axe murder from way back when, instead of like, the hipster or like those guys that you see on YouTube that are free climbing skyscrapers and then just fall off. It's just like, and that's it. But it's just like, you don't see them, people aren't reporting seeing some like phantom figure climbing up a skyscraper, right?
No,
so,
they don't.
But then again, we haven't really talked to, besides our old boss from the Paranormal Network, we haven't really talked to a lot of paranormal investigators. So can you lend any insight into that? Like, have you seen any of that stuff where it's maybe not so crazy or so old where it's just like, it's pretty casual, but hey, this place is haunted?
No, I can't actually say. I haven't actually seen an actual full body apparition or anything like that. I've seen a face of an older woman, but I couldn't tell what period she was from. She was just an older woman. Now, can I say that maybe I have had connection with my grandpa who passed away just right before COVID? Got some very interesting things from his home. I asked him his granddaughter's names. He gave me Kinsey Cloyd, which those are his grandkids' names. And I asked him who the baby was on the wall, and he said me, William. That's his name. But, that's about it. I haven't actually seen like an actual spirit or anything like that that I can say that, I haven't had that experience yet. And I want to, absolutely. But, a lot of people, they're always like, it's a white flowing gown or it's a man with a tall black top hat or, it's the same freaking ghost. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know about that. Like, it gets me wondering too, because, why would spirits now not be around, but spirits from eons ago would be? I don't know if people are just saying that's what they're seeing at these places because these places that they're going to are from like the 1800s. So they're like, oh, I'm going to see a ghost that's wearing, clothes that match that time period, Yeah. That could be a thing too. It could be influencing what they're seeing.
In the last episode with Skeeter, I had brought up the possibility. I have no idea. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm lacking in my research on ghosts and whatnot.
But
okay. I brought up the idea that there could be a potential time frame buffer, if you will, right? You got to wait a certain amount of time before a spirit does appear. It may not be an instantaneous thing, and that's why we see all of the older people.
It's the waiting room in
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice, yeah. It's the waiting room. You gotta wait for a number of years before you even get seen.
So, but like we were saying, maybe wait 80 years and then it will be nothing but hipsters.
It could be, yeah.
It could be.
That could be a possibility. Honestly, because then those places are going to say are haunted from those eras or whatever time periods, and then that's what they're going to see. I wonder if that can just maybe influence people. I don't know.
Wowen says, for Allison, do you have a specific experience that makes you truly believe in ghosts?
I don't know.
I guess it'd probably be getting the feedback, huh?
Ooh, but real quick before that, for those who died, said, where did Shadowban go? That's a great question. Where did he go?
Oh, he's off doing
Disappeared
Jeff
a
stuff.
hot
Who
minute
cares?
ago.
He's garbage anyway. That's
Tisk,
why he's
tisk,
garbage.
tisk.
Just falls off the map, you know?
He's pooping.
Boy's got a poop.
Sorry, dude. I'm sorry. My stomach hurt. I had to jump away. I'm dying.
Was that the thing?
I'm dying.
Jeremy, you need to leave right now and go
Shadow
play
poop.
lottery. Right now.
All right,
hilarious.
no. All right, so back to Bowens' question. Was there one event that sticks out as like, hey, this convinces me?
I can't say that I really have. I mean, I've had things that happen that I can't explain, but doesn't make me be like, oh my God, there's spirits everywhere. Like, that's totally a legit thing. No, I don't. I can't say that I have had an actual experience yet that really makes me think that there's actually spirits around. I'm still trying to get that proof, that information, just to verify, you know. I don't know why we get some of the experiences that we have, or the EVPs or anything like that. I can't explain it, but it doesn't make me think that there's some spirit there. No, not really.
I guess that's what separates you from being a researcher versus an expert. You know,
Yeah, I don't say there's an expert
we're
in
researchers
paranormal.
into this sort of a thing, right?
Yeah, I
don't know
research
if you
into
could
it.
ever
I'm not
be-
going to say I'm ever an expert.
I
I
don't
don't
think you
believe
could
that
ever
there's
be
really an expert in
into
paranormal.
cryptozoology or paranormal or
Mm-mm.
ufology or anything like that, because all that stuff is still, unless it's
Right.
like, I'm an expert in dogs because dogs exist and I have dogs and I train dogs, you know, things like that, right? That would be fair.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
saying
yeah.
you're an expert in anything that we cover, you know, we cover here on the Infinite Rabbit Hole would just be a lie, because we're all just investigating, because it's like, we don't know, you know?
Right, yeah, exactly.
We won't know
100%.
until we're there, honestly. Like, that's the way it is, right?
It is.
We either
for
won't
sure,
know
for
until
sure.
we see a Bigfoot face to face and find out if it can mind speak or not, right? Or whatever.
Right, yeah.
We won't know about the afterlife until we get there. And we won't know about, you know, UFOs unless we get sucked up into a freaking UFO and probed in the butt. And then we'll be like, all
Right,
right, well, I got a
exactly.
pretty good idea, you know? Yeah.
I have proof. Yeah. All right. So, I mean, could you imagine though, like 100 years from now, investigators or researchers are looking at all these hipster ghosts and they're like, ghosts aren't real, dude. Why is it never a Victorian person, you know, from like 200, 300, 400 years ago?
Years ago. Yeah,
Why is
It's always
it
these
never a
hipster
pharaoh in
douchebags
Egypt?
from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh man, where's my vape, bro? Come on, bro, where's my vape?
Let me squeeze some juice from you, bro.
Yeah. You ever heard of steam pump, bro? You could totally put some copper lugs on your hat. It'd be so steampunk, bro.
Now the next investigation, I'm going to go, are there any hipster ghosts here?
Yeah, right. Why are you drinking soda? You should be drinking tea, bro. Come on. Like, oh, okay. Please leave me alone. Please, whatever I got to do to make you pass on, leave me alone. Daddy likes his Pepsi. All right, get out of here.
All right. So, one of the few things Jake and I do agree with is I don't think there's really any experts in this field. You have a lot of people that claim to be experts, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
We're all researchers because nobody has the solid evidence to prove any of this, because then it would be proven, right?
Right.
But we can speculate. What do you think all this is when it comes to ghosts and spirits and such?
I honestly don't know. That's what I'm still trying to figure out. Like, I mean, I'm sure there's some science, or like our mind, like we're, you know, sometimes I feel like we can be influenced by a location too. Like sometimes maybe we're there and we kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think. But like sometimes I think our mind can play tricks on us, like influence us, like, oh, we're here, you know, people have had this happen or this and that. And so sometimes, we might get into that factor where we're like, oh, did I hear that? Oh, yeah. And then you say, oh, did you hear this? And then the next person's like, yeah, I heard that. What did you hear? And then you kind of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of that happens too. So you really got to just write everything
Chad's
down.
over there in the corner. He's like, I don't want to be the only one that didn't hear anything. So yeah, I heard it too.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's a lot of that going on too. Chad. I know that for sure.
There was a hilarious SNL bit back when they were funny, like 10 years ago, that I was watching that was ripping on all the ghost hunter shows. It was like all the lead cast members, but they were in this room and someone like tripped over something and they're like, did you hear that? And they all got like, they're all painted green because of the night vision on the old camcorders, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I did hear that. Oh, I heard that too. Oh, I heard that. And then one of them had a infrared, or sorry, call like a heat sensitive camera. Is that infrared? No. Whatever. But anyway,
they have like a flare thermal cam that picks up heat signatures.
One of the guys, he farts, right? And it's just this cloud emanates out of his butt. And it comes up.
I know what you're talking about.
The guy in the face. And he's like, oh, I'm getting a strong smell of sulfur. And the guy's like, all right, calm down. Yeah. It's just like, it's not that big of a deal. It's like, oh, I smell it too. Oh, it's sulfur. It's sulfur from hell or something like that. They're all freaking out. He's like, okay, God, I farted. All right. Calm down. It's like this whole thing. They're just ripping on all these ghost hunting shows and stuff. And it was like, gosh, it was great.
Yeah. Some of those are hilarious.
And it's funny too, because we had it's not funny, but we had a co-host on here. He's taking a break right now, but CJ, and he was really big into the occult.
Oh, okay.
And through that process, he got really big into the paranormal and ghosts and things like that. And so he has all that equipment. And so he's actually told me from time to time, it's like, bro, I will say the word, I will ship you all of my equipment. And you go out wherever you want to go. Like right here in Menominee, Wisconsin, we have the what's that theater? The
Mabel Tainer.
Mabel Tainer, and it's supposed to be super haunted and stuff, but it's really old. I mean, I don't care about any of that. The architecture is beautiful on this.
Gorgeous,
theater.
Absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, just gorgeous, right? Like you'd see an old cathedral in like England, and just be like, oh, it's just amazing, right? And so, but. He was like, it would be really fun for you as someone who's such a skeptic into all this to go in and set all this equipment up and just see what happens, right? Versus like relying on other people that are, on the shows all over Discovery Channel or History Channel or whatever it is, and just being like, all right, whatever, oh, there's a loud noise. Like no one behind the camera just banged a cabinet real quick, right? So it's like, it's interesting hearing you say that too, when right at the beginning of the questioning that y'all went into that spot and you're like, yeah, we had the dolls flying off and all that stuff and I didn't see any wires or anything. And you even said that you're like, do these people just kind of put on a show just for entertainment and stuff, right? So that's cool to hear you say that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Because I mean, you have to kind of look into those things because some people, I've seen it on the shows, where they have gone in and people were just trying to get attention and get people there and be on a show, to get attention to their bar or whatever. So you never know if somebody's going to go in and try to fake this stuff. So then that way it gets out in the public and then, oh, hey, a TV show wants to come in and what I mean, and give them more publicity, and then they jack up the prices. Like you never know. So that's why you've always got to just kind of check everything out. Scope everything out, check for magnets, wires, anything. You know what I mean? Like you got to check that stuff out.
I screen shared for a minute and showed everybody the Mabel Tainter. How beautiful
I was wondering what was going on. I'm like, what is going on with my screen?
Yeah. It's an absolutely beautiful place. I love that place.
I was gonna say that looked really cool.
It's funny because around here, when they, somebody finds out about the show, they're always like, you should go investigate the Mabel Tainer. It's like, man, I don't know anything about that. Like, I just go there and be like, hey, are
Yeah.
you here? Is it you?
No.
What's
All right. Bye.
No?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, CJ has told us multiple times that he would send out his equipment. You know, I don't know.
Mhm.
Maybe one day. Maybe one day if somebody wants to see that, it'd probably be hilarious.
I'd be
Oh,
down
it would
for
be,
it. Like,
actually.
look, I'll see a ghost face to face and tell him he's not real. Like, I don't care. Like,
All right, Hefe.
That'd be cool.
You got to say things, dude. Say things. Say something.
What do you want me to say, man? I'm just
I
not
don't
trying to
know.
clog up
energy
the
or
airspace
something,
here,
another
you know?
dimension, something you say. You say things.
Tell us how it's the government.
Yeah.
It's definitely not the government. The government's not smart enough to pull off something like fake ghosts. conspiracy. All right. But, you know, it could be some multinational corporations doing some weird shit with some Project Looking Glass or some weird, like, something.
There's
I
Jeff
don't
for
know. I
you.
don't personally think it's ghosts because I kind of get the same vibe. Like, why is it always ghosts from, like, certain eras? At least it seems. And
Mhm.
it's always like the same type of thing that these hauntings are. Like, there's a spot here in Florida that's like, I don't know, 30 minutes for me, and it's apparently like the most haunted place in Florida, Casadega. And like, I've been there a handful of times, and it's
Mhm.
just a couple of psychic readers and like a bar, some homeless
Mhm.
people. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. It
Yeah.
doesn't ever hit me. Even like
Mhm.
in the movie, maybe it's the movie's fault, to be honest, because like every time I watch like a ghost movie, I'm like, this is
Mhm.
stupid.
Mhm.
It's not scary. So
Mhm.
maybe it ruined it for me, but
Man, I watched the newest Paranormal Activity, and I see the ghost is like jangling the pots and pans around at night. I'm like, first night, I throw the husband through the second story window. Like, get out of my house, right? I'm like, I'm not playing with this stuff.
yeah, I don't know. I do think that there's like intersection and cross over between like dimensions and stuff. So I'm not saying that like phenomena
Mhm.
isn't happening. I just don't
Right.
necessarily think that it's like ghosts of other people in the past.
Mhm.
It might be some other, you know, weird shit going on. I don't know.
Interdimensionals.
Interdimensional psychic vampires fucking around and finding out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alex Jones is right.
Yeah.
Well,
called it.
Allison, I don't know if you picked up on the concept of the show yet, but we have a tinfoil hat guy, we have a skeptic,
Uh-huh.
and then we
Oh yeah, of
have
course.
myself, who just kind of likes to talk about it. So,
There,
yeah,
so
there's a
that's
thing
fine.
here.
Yeah.
That's good. That's all right. That's all right. I mean, I've had plenty of share of different kind of people on our show too, so it's all good. But
I
mom
went
So-
on.
says-
Oop.
My mom says, I've had so many close encounters, so sorry, Jeff is wrong.
Well,
Again, I'm not saying like the phenomena is not happening. I just don't know if it's
Right.
nope.
right.
Nope, you're
I don't
wrong.
know if it's Frank from 1800 doing this. It's
Nope.
something else happening.
You're wrong, Jeff. You're wrong.
Moms always know, I guess. So
That's
Yeah.
right.
Damn
Right.
straight.
She says, I've lived in a haunted house, so yeah. There you go. Suck
God.
it, Jeff.
Mhm.
You don't know nothing.
I went on one ghost hunting trip back when I
Uh-huh.
lived in St. Petersburg, Florida.
Mhm.
We went to the Vinoy Hotel, and apparently they had done some Ghost Hunters episode or something of the sorts there too. And this guy was like, you have to check it out. You have to check it out. It's creepy. Come with our crew. You know, you'll change your mind, because honestly, you know,
Mhm.
I'm always the guy that's like, man, you know, I don't necessarily believe in it, but you know,
Mhm.
if you say you saw it, then I'll give you the time of day to
Right.
talk and we'll discuss it,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
So same thing. It's always been like that. And I was like, yeah, you know, same thing. Not really a big fan or like really know too much about the paranormal, but
Mhm.
you know, convince me. So let's go.
Mhm.
Went there,
Right.
absolutely nothing happened.
Mhm.
Absolutely nothing happened. And he
Right.
was like, man, I don't know what's going on. They're usually like super busy. And
Mhm.
it's like, man, I don't know. But it was a nice hotel. It was really cool,
Yeah.
and they were nice enough to let us go in there and kind of
Mhm.
check out some of the areas that aren't really, you know, open to the public, like the where the staff go and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we didn't see anything. Actually, I could probably screen
No,
share some pictures of Hanoi.
There's so many times that we've been on an investigation, we don't get anything. It's like just sitting there in the dark watching freaking darkness the whole 8, 12, whatever hours we do it. We don't get anything every time. Like, or sometimes we might get something very small and we're like, that's nothing. Like, they don't, if you're having, there's not always going to be phenomenon or activity or anything like that when you go to a location. It's just not like that. It's very random. And some people may say that they get it all the time. Do they really? I don't know. Or do they say that so people will come to the location? That's another thing. So.
But I feel like somebody's got some sort of evidence out there or has some kind of hookup where they could take us and change our mind. Or, I don't think you can change Jake's mind. I think he's pretty much set in his way. No matter what you show him, he's going to be like, yeah, it's demonic.
Fake.
Yeah.
Demonic.
But if somebody knows a hotspot and they're like, yep, you will 100% have some sort of encounter, and it'll get your mind thinking. I'm 100% down. I want to see it, right? I want to see what everyone else is talking about. But until that day,
check out that Garnett place. There's been a lot of weird stuff. I had the previous owner on years ago, Rob Garcia. There's a new owner now, but even when he was taking care of the place, like some of the stuff was just like, what is going on? I don't know. We've only been there one time, so I can't really say, we had stuff happen, but will it happen again if we go there? I couldn't tell you if it will or not. Malvern seems to be fairly decent, but that's we go there a lot.
So Jake's mom said, she's talking about she agrees it's demonic and that demonic isn't fake. I don't disagree with you. I don't. I've just never
negative
had
entities out there.
Well, I've
Jeremy,
just never had this experience.
I should have taken you to the Wolf Manor back when we first got started. It was probably still up. So there was this place where I grew up in Fresno, California called the Wolf Manor, and it used to be a mansion, and then it got turned into an insane asylum. Or not an insane asylum. It got turned into a like a home for the like a retirement home type thing, right? But there was like 3 staff members to every 100 patients, right?
Oh wow.
And then eventually they just left like 300 elderly people inside of this house, just starving to death, laying in their own feces. It's disgustingly horrible. It's awful. All of them died. And then they came in, like people were like trying to do welfare checks, and finally a place came in and saw this sort of stuff. It was just absolutely atrocious. And there were so many lawsuits against this property that no one would buy it. And I remember going to school when I was a kid, and it literally said free Wolf Manor. Like it was for free. But if you took over the ownership of the home or the mansion, you would also take on the $20 million lawsuit or whatever it was, right? For all the wrongful death suits and all that sort of stuff, right? So there's no way.
Oh yeah.
And eventually someone bought it, and they turned it into a ghost tour type stuff, because if anywhere is going to be haunted, it's going to be this place.
Right.
And then eventually got torn down. And I think they put like a Walmart on top of it or something like that, whatever they do, because it's California. It's definitely there. My mom says it was a skilled nursing facility. Dad picked up a bunch of dead and dying patients there for years when he was a paramedic. He said it was the worst he'd ever seen. So that's my dad. So she said it's a Costco now. So yeah, so so they demolished the building, but it was this like stain on the community for decades, right? And that would have been like the perfect place to go. I'm not saying it would change your mind or we would experience anything or whatever it is, but if I could think of one place that would be like tremendously haunted or demonically influenced or oppressed or whatever it is, it would be that place, right? But
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
So
yeah, my mom says the hair on the back of your neck stood up just driving by.
Oh.
nice.
Yeah,
Also,
it's pretty gross.
Costco now.
Yeah.
It's a haunted
So-
Costco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Indian Burial Ground under a Costco. Yeah.
There you go.
So I
Walk
grew
through with
up
your
in
paranormal equipment.
I grew up in the town of Middletown, Connecticut. That's where I was
Mhm.
born, and I was there until the summer between my sophomore and junior year of high school. And when I hit high school, there was this place that we used to always go to. It was called
Mhm.
Connecticut Valley Hospital, or CVH for short. And this place was shut down, abandoned way before, I got there.
Mhm.
And let me tell you, the creepiness of this place was nuts. I mean, we used to just go there and do stupid kid shit, right?
Right.
Hide and go seek. I would never do any recreational drugs ever in my life, but if I did, I would go there, right? Kids go there to make out all the time, but it's super creepy. I actually, we went down there one time and we went into the basement, and there was this huge cement slab down there. And this one kid, I'm not going to put his name out there. His name was Dane. he would tell me, he would be like, oh, you know how many people had lobotomies on this slab, or how many people's had autopsies, and you can see the drains next to it and everything. It's
Yeah.
like, dang, man, the amount of blood that went down this. But the Connecticut
Mhm.
Valley Hospital was a mental institute, and
Mhm.
there was a lot of really, really creepy stuff. I actually pulled it up here for you guys. This same thing I've been
Okay,
doing with
sweet.
everything else, right?
Mhm.
This is what I used to go and hang out at some nights. It was super
Oh,
weird,
cool.
right? Look at
Mhm.
this. Yeah, I mean,
That's
there
very
was
cool.
some really, really weird stuff going on here.
Mhm.
I never
That's cool.
witnessed anything super strange myself, but the stories
Mhm.
that come out of this, I wonder if it's still available to go check out, because that would be something that I would
Oh.
go and do research at, or do an
Mhm.
investigation at. I mean, this was
No, for sure.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
on Silver Street in Middletown, Connecticut, and we used to go there all the time. I mean, but
Very
this,
cool.
like, yeah, there were holes in the floors, and like easily could have died when nobody
Oh.
would have known. Easily.
Fall into the abyss.
Yeah,
Become one
right.
of the ghosts.
Especially, in the shape I was in at the time, because I've never done any recreational drugs, but if I did, then it would have been really bad.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. Oh.
But yeah, that's one of the places that I personally would like to go back to investigate,
Hmm.
because I don't know, just every time that I've ever talked to anybody about hauntings or whatnot,
Mhm.
it's always come up in my mind, and sometimes I bring it up, and it's like, man, I just tell the story of that slab.
Mhm.
That slab is
Oh,
just
yeah.
terrifying, and there's this like one little uh basement window, just like in any basement where
Mhm.
you have like the quarter size window, like up
Oh,
at
yeah.
the very top by the ceiling. It
Mhm.
just had one of those with like the moonlight shining in. It's just absolutely petrifying and creepy. And then you have this guy, Dane, sitting there telling you over and over again about how much blood that went down the drains and lobotomies that happened. And it's like, man, dude,
Mhm. Yeah.
if I did
That.
recreational drugs, this would be a great place to do it.
My mom said, from that story I told about her in England, she
Mhm.
said we lived in the Martin Place in Hawkwold, England for 2 years. She said I got pushed down the stairs, locked in the house, furniture moved by itself, lights on and off. She said it's a daycare now.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh. Those poor children.
Oh no. Those kids are
Yes.
gonna be screwed.
Let's
Like,
see.
it's
Yeah.
worse
That's
downstairs.
part of my skepticism too, right? Is like there's so many places. Like I've lived in a lot of places. I move almost every year. Every time the lease is up, I move. It seems like, and I've lived in a lot of places that were built in like I don't know, the 50s, 60s. So you would imagine that I've at least lived in a couple of places where like some traumatic events may have happened, and like I've never seen it. You would just I would think that there would be more of it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of old buildings. There's a lot of older houses that people live in every day, or there's daycares or Costco's in. So
Haunted
I don't know.
Costco.
I do
That's
also
what everybody's going to be
understand, like, the
investigating in the
stigma.
next few years is a Costco.
That's
right.
where all the
It's like-
hipster douchebags
it's
are going
like-
to
That's,
be.
Where'd you get
that's
that free
right.
sample? Where'd you get that
I mean-
free sample? Oh, from that booth over there. What booth? Oh, but
I
dang,
get
was
the
this some good
stigma
sausage?
and like the fear of being ostracized by like saying something, you know, like I saw like a ghost, I saw something weird, you know, whatever. But it just seems like the amount of it seems lesser than it should be if it's based off of like what you would think it is, right? Like traumatic events or somebody died
Right.
here
Sure.
or like something like
Right.
that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that's
Right.
what leads me to believe that it's probably something different, right? I mean,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Jeff and I probably align somewhat on this because I believe that if it is a real phenomenon, that it probably has to do with something with bleeding dimensions or
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
multiple planes of existence,
Mm-hmm.
you know,
Right.
coming into contact with each other or something along the lines, and in between those planes of existing, time kind of is, you know, weird. It's not linear like it, or it doesn't. We can't see time linear through other worlds, you know, other parallel worlds. So we see it in that repetitive
Right.
Groundhog Day pattern that a lot of people will report when it comes to ghosts and spirits, right? Because
Right. Mm-hmm.
a lot of people will report that they see something, and it's always it's 2:11 in the morning. She's going to be coming down the stairs, and here she comes, right?
Right.
Now I'm not saying that's absolutely the case, but I definitely think that in my mind, with the research that I've done and the things that I believe in, I think that that's more along the lines of my beliefs in this whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's like the movie The Others, where you're seeing all these things, but instead of them being the ghosts, you're the ghosts, and they're the people that are moving into your house. That's a movie you should watch. I know you haven't watched it, but you should.
I haven't. Definitely.
Jeremy
I
doesn't
haven't
watch
watched
movies.
it either.
I don't. I've never seen
What?
Star Trek.
It's a good movie. Yeah.
Eh, I'm not into Star
Yeah.
Trek.
Yeah, I catch shit for it all the time. Yep. No.
Mhm.
Star Trek and Obi-Wan and the ring, right?
Oh.
They get the ring. And they're like, don't take the ring from me. And then the guy takes the ring, and then they get mad, so they take out their lightsabers. Right? Right?
Oh,
Yep.
my lord.
Yep, you got it.
Yeah, sure. Okay.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes,
100.
sir.
The
100.
sad
See?
part is, Allison, he's not
I
kidding.
could be
He's
I could be a
not-
Hollywood writer. Simple.
He's not
Yeah.
Simple.
in
Okay.
any of these movies.
Yeah. No.
Simple.
Wow.
Anyways, yeah, well, it is what it is. Anyways, what was I gonna say before you guys rudely interrupted me? Ugh. I don't know. Yep, we got a dead spot in the whole show. Thanks, guys.
That's not
Yep.
good.
That's not a dead spot. You made it a dead spot.
Nope.
Talk
You're
about
garbage.
rings
You're fired.
and lightsabers and
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. Do we have any questions from the chat? Anybody in the chat? Send us some questions. Let's ask more questions. I know Allison's got to get out of here. We're already way
Wolen says
past.
you're a dead spot.
I am. Thanks, Wowens.
you're
Appreciate you. Love you.
DED.
Love you too. Yep. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and give the chat a second to come up with any questions that they possibly could have. Jake, Jeff, do you guys have anything else for Allison before we let her go?
No, not really. I appreciate you coming on. Don't
absolutely.
take my skepticism,
Oh, I don't. Don't worry about it.
No offense or anything, obviously, right? I'm all
No.
about the research.
There's-
I just,
Right. Yeah. Nope. Totally. I don't. It doesn't bother me at all.
See, that's not how you approach Jeff. You say, "Thanks, Jeff. You ruined my life. I, everything that I've worked for is just down the drain because you said some stupid shit.
I just
Thanks."
go like this, maybe, or
There
something?
you go.
Yeah,
fuck
yeah.
you, Jeff.
Oh gosh. Oh, man.
Sorry, I got something in my eye
I don't
here.
know. I don't know why my eyes are so itchy right now. That's crazy. No, Allison, thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you being lighthearted about it, being able to crack jokes and stuff. And I hope you're horribly offended by everything I said. Yeah.
No. I mean, you hear this stuff all the time, so I'm used to it. I don't really care.
Yeah. Just be super offended. I hope you think about it later, like a month from now.
I'm gonna be like murdering you in my dreams. I'm gonna murder you in my dreams.
Good.
That's one thing I do love is true crime.
Oh, I love it too. I love it so much. I've been dreaming about it. It's been bad. It's like if I ever talk to the cops, it's all allegedlys and someone may have said one time. like I watch all the YouTube Explore with Us police interrogations and stuff.
Oh, cool.
Oh my gosh. Oh, it was self-defense, but I still chopped them up and burned the body.
I know, right?
It was self-defense.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Gosh, people are vile. It's so bad, but I love it. I can't get enough of it. It's like, for me, it's watching these people try to lie themselves out of it, and then just getting hammered with like a death sentence or a lifetime in prison. Right? I'm like, oh yes.
I know. I don't know. Like if I've had, it's kind of weird. I'm a little weird like this, but if I've had a really stressful day, I like to come home and have a glass of wine, and watch true crime. That's exactly what I do. I'd rather.
Watch
I will.
Some
I
kid
will binge watch that shit.
Killed his whole family. Yeah, right. Rough. It's like CSI, but real.
Mm-hmm.
Goodness gracious.
Speaking of true crime, we have a nice little streak going here on the live shows where I give a little insight into the future of the show and a possible episode upcoming. We may be diving into our first true crime case, where we kind of touched on it already when we covered the Slender Man. In the Slender Man episode, when we covered the case of the two girls from Waukesha, Wisconsin. I just bought a book. It is called Slender Man, and it is by Kathleen Hale, and it is entirely about the case of the two girls in Waukesha, Wisconsin. So, if anybody is interested in hearing a true crime episode, the first true crime episode here on the Infinite Rabbit Hole, that's what we're going to be diving into, because at the same time, true crime is cool, right? But Infinite Rabbit Hole, we deal with Infinite Rabbit Hole stuff. And if we could tie the Slender Man into it, I think it would make for a pretty cool episode. So,
oh yeah, sure, that's gonna be awesome.
All the people listening, all the people watching, whenever you guys do get a chance, make sure you guys message us on your social media of choice and let us know, do you want to hear our first true crime episode on the Slenderman case?
Real quick, Wowen says, Allison, have you ever smelt anything weird while doing your ghost investigations?
I can't recall that I have, but I know that Kim, one of my team members, we were at Farrar School, and we were up in what they called the principal's office, but it was actually the counselor's office that we later found out. She smelled pickles. I didn't smell it. She smelled it. She's like, why does it smell like pickles? I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, but pickles of all things. I don't know. That's about the only thing. I haven't really.
No, like sulfur smells or anything like that?
Not that I can recall, no. No.
Okay.
What?
I haven't.
I want to say it was Family Guy, where they were like, something about a ghost in the house, and if you put a cucumber on the couch, you come back tomorrow, it'll be a pickle. Does that ring a bell for anybody here?
I don't think I've seen that one.
I want to say it was Family Guy. Jake, I'm gonna look up the clip and send it to you later. It's absolutely hilarious.
That's funny.
Just hilarious. It's probably not Family Guy at all. It's probably Star Wars.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Allison, have you ever played the Midnight Man game?
No, I haven't.
I told Jeremy and his wife about this earlier, or a couple weeks ago. So the kids were playing some game, and I was just like, I can't remember what they called it. There was like a birthday party going on or whatever, and I was just like, I was like, wait, explain to me this game, because I thought it was the Midnight Man game, and it turned out to be completely innocent. So back when, before I was a believer in Jesus, and I was just a ruthless, like, let's find out individual. So we would play a game where you would light a candle, and like a big, tall, like, a good sized candle, right? So you light this candle, and this would be like your lights, right? We turn off all lights in the house, and you would write a thing on a piece of paper saying, like, we invite the Midnight Man into our house from the hours of 12 o'clock a.m. to 3:30 a.m. And then you'd draw some blood, and you'd sign your name in blood. And then at 12 o'clock in the morning, you would knock on the door and open it, and you would invite the Midnight Man into your house, which was essentially a demon or whatever, during the witching hour. And then you'd close the door, and then you'd have to run around and hide with your candle. And if the candle went out, you had no way to light it, and then you're susceptible to being possessed by the Midnight Man.
I have never heard of this.
Crap like this, which was just fun, right? It's just
God.
Just a rush.
We did Bloody Mary and light as a feather, stiff as a board back in my day.
Oh yeah.
I did that too.
We did that too. Or the Oni one, which is ONI. I think it's Japanese for demon. And you would take you'd make a doll. You could take a stuffed animal, whatever, take all the stuffing out of it. You fill it with rice, which represents the body. Then you stitch it up with red thread, which represents the blood. And then you would say a chant and give it a spirit, and you'd leave it with a weapon and go hide in the house and hope it doesn't come and kill you.
Oh my gosh.
Like a teddy bear stuffed with rice, covered in red thread, that would run around the house with a knife and kill you.
The knife?
Yeah. Like
Are you sure there's not a movie already out there like that?
There actually is, because of the tradition of doing the thing.
So I sent the clip to the chat, Jeff, of the Family Guy scene. It is Lois's brother who gets out of an insane asylum, and he has a ghost wife. And it's there. It's there for you. Her name's Marion. If anybody wants to look that up, I found it on YouTube. Just look up. I think I looked up Family Guy pickle scene or something like that. And it came right up. So there you go. All right, Allison, I know I kept you way later than I was supposed to. Okay. I do apologize about that.
It's okay.
But
no worries.
Before we close up shop, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find you, so that they can come listen to you and follow your work.
Okay, I knew you were going to ask me this, so I have to look it up because I don't know my handles. That's ridiculous. We do have a Facebook. We do have a Facebook page that Kim runs. Our Facebook page. It's REP Paranormal and Friends. We post a lot of our stuff about our podcast on there, our upcoming investigations, some of our live feeds. Also, I do our Twitter page. It's Alison at REP Paranormal. We also have Instagram, which is RE Paranormal 24. So that's kind of where you can find us. Our shows are on Thursday nights. You can find it on Spreaker for free on Thursday nights live, or it's on any podcast platform that you listen to, or wherever you like to listen to your podcasts.
Nice. I just followed you guys on Facebook.
All right, sweet.
Yeah. So whenever this goes live, I will tag your Facebook group in it.
Real quick. Okay. So Wowen said, in response to your smells answer, Allison, she says, okay, I smelled something gross one time while I felt like I was being watched. I was just curious.
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of people say they smell like the sulfur, rotten egg kind of smell of something. Might be kind of a sign of something, whatever, bad or whatever, or maybe somebody just farted. I don't know. But
maybe.
That's a ghost fart. It's a ghost fart.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? Everything good, guys? Ready to roll?
Allison, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah,
I
thanks,
certainly
guys, for
appreciate
having
it.
me.
It's been fun.
Yeah.
It was a good episode. It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
For sure.
And thank you very much. You had a couple people in the chat that also said thank you. Wowens and 14 the Wins. I think that's Jake's family. Yeah.
Mama.
Well, thanks everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I really do appreciate
absolutely.
that. And for everyone else, this has been another episode of the Infinite Rabbit Hole podcast. We'll see you in the next fork of the path of the Infinite Rabbit Hole. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Peace out.
Allison, you have to say bye.
I
There
said
it is.
peace out. Okay,
That
bye.
works.
I said peace out.